So when I gave birth to my first baby girl, I knew that breastfeeding is one of the strongest health-promoting activities, so I knew I will breastfeed. But breastfeeding is difficult. So in my mind, it was supposed to be this naturally occurring, fun process, and although I had many magical moments, reality was really different. Breastfeeding was tough. So I saw a lactation consultant at the hospital, but I realized that while I was very strictly monitored all through my pregnancy, when it comes to breastfeeding, there are no objective tools to assess individual breastfeeding at all. So I was instructed to count diapers and time breastfeeding sessions. I've read all the information I got at the hospital and researched tons of content online, but eventually I was left with tons of uncertainty. Is my baby breastfeeding well? Do I produce enough milk for my baby? Why is my baby crying? I would have paid anything to get some control and peace of mind. And my story is not unique. So today, almost all mothers initiate breastfeeding. But mastering breastfeeding is really challenging, and most mothers don't stand with breastfeeding for as long or as exclusive as they originally desired. So today, over 100 million mothers initiate breastfeeding. How do we get them to continue? So the main reason mothers report to stop breastfeeding is I did not have enough milk. This is largely preventable, and this is why we've built MyMilk to help mothers like us be proactive about their breastfeeding success. So we've basically transformed human milk to this powerful data source that reflects on the breastfeeding progress and breast milk production maturation. So the breast milk really changes in those first hours, days, and weeks after birth. It has a unique dynamics of changing from early colostrum to mature milk. And this is where the Miley comes in. So meet Miley. Miley is a mobile health device and app for improving breastfeeding through direct breast milk sensing. Let's switch to the demo. So basically, for the first time ever, a mother can introduce just a few drops of milk into the Miley Scan device and application and receive immediate feedback about her breast milk supply and breastfeeding establishment process. With additional information she provides to the system, she receives additional actionable insights in the form of visual and textual reinforcement, tips, and alarms for improving breastfeeding. And she can share this unique report with a lactation consultant through the application. Let's switch back. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, so let's see the tech behind the Miley. So in MyMilk, we've basically established the first human milk dedicated clinical laboratory where we've tested tens of thousands of data points for various breast milk analytes, looking at this difference between early milk and this progress to mature milk in the first weeks after birth. And the Miley is the first device to take this from the laboratory directly to the hand of the breastfeeding mother. So basically, the Miley device senses the electrochemical properties or the electrical impedance of a tiny human milk sample. This information correlates well with the information we've accumulated in our laboratory with a change in milk composition. So this information is transmitted to the smartphone device using Bluetooth, and then our app calculates where the specific sample at on this continuum from colostrum to mature milk. And then it gives visual indication regarding whether the sample is delayed or advanced relative to expected from the specific age of the baby or the time that has passed since birth. Okay. So our competitive landscape includes both breastfeeding, tracking, and diaries apps, and telemedicine services apps. There are also technologies assessing directly the milk flow from the mother to the baby. And there are companies like Everlywell that offer direct-to-consumer laboratory testing, assessing anecdotal nutritional analytes in breast milk. MyMilk is the first and only integrated solution that generates, utilizes our unique milk sensing abilities together with our consumer-centered or patient-centered mobile health solution. Okay, so in our beta pilot, we've successfully tested the system with lactation consultants that have scanned over 500 mothers using the system. They love the system. They say it's like science fiction and a new valuable tool in their toolbox, and that the mothers love it. So our business model is basically selling the device plus disposables and the use of the app, and also offering premium services such as telemedicine services and advanced lab testing services. The go-to-market strategy is through lactation consultants and also direct to consumers. And in 3 years, we see many of our customers coming through the healthcare system when integrating our technology to the healthcare system for enabling continuum of care. So Ravid and myself, So Ravid and myself have both graduated as PhDs from the Weizmann Institute of Science. Our team includes both software professionals and laboratory professionals, mostly mothers, striving to improve women's health and the health of generations to come. So in Miley, we know that Miley will become a must-have device for improving breastfeeding of all breastfeeding mothers, and we're excited to launch as pre-sale here at Disrupt. Thank you.
Excellent. Judges.
As a long-term consumer of this product, once upon a time, I wish I had it. I'll jump in. There's no time in my life I've been more goal-oriented or had more challenges, so thank you. I'd love to know exactly what is the aha? Like, what is the specific thing that I would tell a friend of mine that's just had a baby, that's nursing for the first time, as to why you have to use this product?
Before Miley, you basically had no objective sense of what's going on. After Miley, you know. So you both get the aha moment of knowing what's going on. Maybe you won't get it on your first measurement, but while you go on and continue measurements daily and receive these insights and start acting upon it, then the magic kicks in.
Can you, and again, I think there's nothing that's like more akin to a new mother's identity than figuring out how to do this. So it's a really powerful moment. But give me maybe an example of an insight or two in the first week that you might be using the device.
So we can tell both a lactation consultant and a mother. So this technology is also missing vastly from the healthcare system, and also lactation consultants, which are the go-to person when it comes to breastfeeding assessment. They don't have an objective tool, and this is why they were the first ones that we've approached when assessing our beta device. And they say this is science fiction that became true. I mean, I can't believe that you know what's going on with these mothers from miles away through your cloud. So this was really a wow moment with our lactation consultant. So we can see whether this mother is breastfeeding or introduces large amounts of formula. We know that there are differences between breasts. We know when the mother is experiencing severe pain only by understanding the specific analytics of her milk on the spot.
And are you making like different dietary recommendations or different recommendations as to when to introduce formula?
So yeah.
Okay. So most of the establishment of breast milk is a behavioral process of education of the breast to produce the milk. So by introducing early feedback about how the number of breastfeeding, if she need to increase between breastfeeding expression, if she need to include night breastfeeding, and so on, the system can alert her as early as it can be.
But in the laboratory, we do have breast milk compositional analysis and nutritional analysis done as a direct-to-consumer laboratory testing, basically being like the 23andMe for breast milk. So we do that as well in the laboratory, and we plan to move some of these capabilities to the device soon as well.
And so is the key window that first 2 weeks when you're seeing the changes? And then do I continue to use the test throughout? Or is it really just at the beginning that there's this moment of change?
So the first use case or first like real value proposition is for these first days to weeks after birth. We look at it as the first 6 weeks after birth mainly, but we will include additional sensors into the system that will enable achieving additional information such as nutritional recommendations, taking more and more of the technologies that we know how to do in the lab and put them in the device itself. And also there is ability to upsell through the application and receive those advanced testing, laboratory testing.
Thanks.
As a parent, I understand the importance and also the willingness to spend against this, your child's nutrition. Can you just talk through how you think about the potential lifetime value of customers using this service? And it sort of feels intuitively that $300 is sort of insufficient given the complexity of the device. And so what are the options for you to increase the lifetime value per customer that you can generate?
So when we're talking about $300 lifetime revenue, we're basically looking mainly on these first 6 months after birth. But when it can be vastly extended, when we extend beyond breastfeeding to other maternal and infant-related healthcare and well-being issues in the first 2 years of life. So we see breastfeeding as a very early stage when we can gain or give real value proposition to the mother, and then we can offer additional values through there.
Which could be, what, 10 times that 300, or do you have any ballpark
So we
number?
calculated up to 2,000, but I think there is really, this is the upper limit when it comes to direct sensing, whether it's any biosensing with a device, but then when we have such a large consumer base, we can basically bring it up anywhere.
All right, we are out of time, so give it up for our wildcard company, MyMilk.